Welcome to the Super Divorce Supercast. Thank you for tuning in. This is the intro to the show. I'm Nick.
I'm Bender.
Nicholas.
And Benderus.
Zachary.
Yeah.
We talk about Zachary.
I wish I was Zachariah sometimes.
You could go by Zachariah.
I
People shorten their names all the time, but no one ever extends them.
I could be the first.
You could.
Start a new trend.
We're going to talk about stuff today on the show, like traveling and listening to different things, and we're going to talk about Bayonetta.
Yeah, we'll talk about Bayonetta. We talk about Rob Zombie's 31.
Video games. We talk about other video games besides Bayonetta.
We talk about Cincy Comic-Con.
Talk about haunted attractions.
And how, much like last week, where most people don't want to bang your kid, people also don't want to bang you.
Yeah.
And we talk about that.
Right. And it's okay.
And it's okay to tell somebody they're pretty.
And to accept the compliment.
Yeah.
You should be proud.
Yeah. Instead of just assuming that people want to fuck you, because guess what? They probably don't.
And even if they did, as long as they don't act on it, right?
That's
fine.
Still good. Yeah, just let it happen.
Someone
said the rapist.
No, we're not supporting that.
Not even a little bit.
It's just, if someone wants to fuck me, you know, I appreciate the sentiment is what I'm getting at here.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
just don't do anything about it.
Right.
But
you can tell me.
Yeah. Say, hey, you look good enough to fuck.
So we talk about that a little bit.
And some other things, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So, we are Super Divorce, of course. So, make sure that you follow us and support our other endeavors, like what we're doing on Twitter, at Super Divorce, on Snapchat, just called Super Divorce there, on Instagram, we are Super Divorce Band, and on Facebook, facebook.com/superdivorce. And also look up the Divorce Club on Facebook and join that.
Join that shit.
Because we're always posting and trying to keep a good community vibe going.
Yep.
Keep people involved and interested.
Did you mention the website too? Check out superdivorceme.com.
Superdivorceme.com. And if you want to, you should want to. If you go to superdivorceme.com/superstore, you can still buy a copy of Wish You the Best.
Oh, yeah.
Our full-length album that we put out earlier this year that will very soon be obsolete.
Mm-hmm. It's a kick-ass album, people.
It is. We're just not going to be playing those songs anymore.
Never, ever.
And the stock of those compact discs will not be replenished.
Ever. And
they're real ass CDs.
Yeah.
Like,
this is like, we got them made, yo.
They're made, they're shrink wrapped. They have a fucking booklet inside with all the lyrics.
Oh shit, people.
And the CD, like, actually has the title on it.
Yeah.
It's not like one of those stamped down paper CDs. It's a real CD. It's a real fucking thing.
This is what you'll one day refer to as a Super Divorce collector's item.
Yeah.
So get it while it's good.
And we have less than 50 of those available. So do it.
Yeah.
And what else? Real quick, Super Tokens is a streaming video game show that Nicholas, I'm doing that every Monday and Thursday at midnight live on Twitch. And the day before each show, I always share a little. I'm doing it on a straw poll website where I share the poll. You get a vote on which game I play. And then I stream that live, and you can watch me and have all sorts of fun while I sit and play video games.
And I normally try to hop on and talk shit, so if you want to talk shit with me, I'll be in the comments.
Yeah, I try and keep an eye on the chat so that I can talk to all the people there. All of them.
Just me.
Yeah. And here's something. every Wednesday I'm going to be doing Super Tokens Show and Tell Edition on YouTube.
Oh.
I'm going to do this every week.
Yeah.
Because I had fun doing the first two.
Cool.
And I'm just going to pick a piece of gaming memorabilia and talk about it for a few minutes. What else? On our YouTube page, subscribe.
Yes,
because
definitely.
we need 100 subscribers so that we can change our URL to a custom URL.
Oh.
We can't do that until we get 100 subscribers. Until then, you just have to search for Super Divorce and then filter by channels, and then you can find us on there. So do that. And last but not least, SUPERSCARY, our new horror movie review show. It's going to start this Saturday. So tune in to that and enjoy this episode of the Super Divorce Supercast.
Enjoy, everybody.
We are not getting a divorce.
We are not getting a divorce.
We are not getting a divorce.
What's up?
Hello, everybody.
Of course, you're listening to the Super Divorce Supercast.
Yes,
I'm Nicholas Villars.
I am Bender. Just Bender. To my friends, which is all of you, I guess, because it's like that stupid thing people do in bands where they just like shorten themselves to one name, or they have like a stage name like John 5 or Buckethead.
Yeah.
But except my actual name is Bender.
Yeah, we actually call you Bender.
Yeah.
It's not just a stage thing.
Right. So it's a real life stage name.
Yeah. And I guess that's just a nickname.
Yeah.
But it's also your last name.
Yeah, but it's cool to say a real life stage name. I prefer that. So whenever you guys meet us, when we're famous or when we finally start playing music again, you can just call me Bender.
Are you offended when people call you Zach or Zachary?
No, most of my friends still call me Zach. I mean, it's really just like the band and this group that calls me Bender.
And then the internet at large.
Yeah,
Everyone
and then the
knows you
internet
there
at
as
large.
Bender
Right.
because that's what your name appears as.
Exactly.
But not on Facebook.
No, it does
Because you
say.
can't just go by Bender.
No, I suppose not. Unless I changed it to Bender.
Yeah. You could do that. Did you go by Bender on Facebook before they made everyone switch?
No.
No?
I never went by Bender until I joined the band.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. It wasn't like, it's not, I don't know.
Because I thought you told me to call you Bender. Or that
we
you just...
said that because we had Zach Madden too.
Oh,
and I was just
okay.
like, oh, well, you guys can just call me Bender.
Okay.
I prefer it. I think it's cool. Makes me feel cool.
If you're not being called Bender, would you prefer Zach or Zachary?
Just Zach. But my grandma calls me Zachary. You know.
I never hear anyone named Zachary go by Zachary.
Because it's, like, not that cool.
It's like a strawberry Zachary.
Except for Zachary Quinto or whatever.
Yeah.
But,
His friends probably call him Zach.
probably.
See, no one really called me Nicholas my entire life,
Yeah.
but I've been using it more lately. Just for fun.
Yeah, I've
I think it
noticed.
sounds more esteemed.
It does. It does.
Nicholas Villars.
But Zachary, I feel like, sounds childish.
Yeah, you do kind of imagine a mother yelling, Zachary!
Zachary! Yeah. So.
Slow down!
Right. Slow down. Don't eat that!
Yeah. Stay away from that!
That's why I prefer Zach.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I guess if people want to yell at you, they can call you Zachary.
Right. Hopefully I never have anybody yell at me, though. Passive aggressive. Don't talk to me.
Yeah. That'd be mean. Well, it's our first one of these, and it's been like 2 weeks since we actually recorded one, almost.
Right, since we actually recorded, but we're smart and pre-recorded, so we've still had one every week.
Yeah, hopefully you've been listening week by week, and
Yeah.
we've not missed anything yet, but the last episode you listened to, we recorded it. What I guess it would have been.
It would have been like
weeks.
the 2 weeks, like the last day of August or something like that. I think.
So almost 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose.
Anyway, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Since we've done one of these.
But that's because somebody was in Boston.
Yeah, I went to Massachusetts with my wife and my son, and we visited with family. And Jess, my wife, did a tattoo show, a convention out there, and we had a good time. I beat Bayonetta while I was in the hotel one day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
While you were there? That's cool.
Yeah, just played straight through it.
Like, sat down and straight through? That's impressive. I remember I had Bayonetta on, I guess, the Wii. Maybe Xbox 360.
Yeah, I think it was on 360 and PS3.
I had it on 360. So, I bought it, and I remember playing it, and that's a game I did actually beat. And then, like, I beat it, and then I probably let it sit for a couple months or whatever. And then I was like, I'm going to play Bayonetta again. Like, that game was pretty fun or whatever. And I popped it in and just had absolutely no idea how to do, like, any of the combos, or, like, couldn't figure out how
I don't know if I could tell you how to do any combos. It was just a lot of button mashing.
It was a lot of button mashing, but I feel like after I beat it and set it down for a while, when I picked it back up, my button mashing was not... It wasn't chaining anything together. I was getting, like, 2 and 3 hit combos, and then she was, like, stalling. And I
so it was like 2-year-old button mashing.
Yeah.
Not like, I can kind of play this.
Yeah, and I was just like, what the hell? Like,
yeah.
And I didn't end up beating it a second time because I just literally had the toughest time getting back into the swing of how that game plays.
It was really fun. I like a game like that every now and then. Just, there's not much to it.
Right, it's just beat the shit out of everything.
Yeah. It was a good heaping dose of sexy fun.
Oh, yeah.
I know a lot of people were mad about it when it came out. And then the second one for the same reason.
Just because she's a witch that wears her hair as clothing?
Yeah, they thought it was too sexy and too... focused too much on the figure.
One of the better games Capcom is... It was a Capcom game, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe so.
It's one of the better games Capcom.
I loved it.
It's so good.
Just because it's so rare these days that, I mean, I love your open world, millions of side quests that you can't stand.
Yeah, I know you do.
But it's nice to sit down and know when you're sitting down that if you don't do anything else that day, you can get through it. And that's what I did, just because I was with Lazarus in our hotel room all day and we didn't have anything else to do, so I just put that in and played through it, and I'm looking forward to playing the second one.
I'm upset that, like, the second one is not readily available to me because I don't have a Wii U.
Yeah.
But, you know, I really wanted to play the second one. It seemed odd to me that that's one of the games that ended up as a Nintendo exclusive. Like, I feel like Nintendo tried really hard, or they marketed the Wii U as like, we're gonna have more mature games, and then like all they came out with was Bayonetta.
Yeah.
And that was Ninja Gaiden.
But it was very highly praised when it came out.
I heard it was very good. And I'm upset that like I wasn't able to just play it. Like,
I picked it up like right after it came out, and it came with the disc for Bayonetta 1.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd never played Bayonetta until, last week, and I played it on the Wii U because it came with Bayonetta 2.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to playing the second one because I had a lot of fun with the original, and I think if anyone's too prudish or stuck up to play it, then they're giving themselves a bad time.
It like wasn't even. I mean, it was sexy, but it wasn't even that sexy though.
It's just like it shows off her figure a lot.
It's just her figure though. Like it's not like you see her tits or anything.
There's no like.
There's
sex
no
scenes.
Nudity, no sex scenes, no nothing. She just like.
She's wearing very tight clothes, I guess.
Yeah, she looks like Celine in the Underworld movies.
Mm-hmm.
Kate Beckinsale.
Which there's a new one coming out.
I know. I'm super pumped about it.
I love those movies.
I do too. I'm so
no
glad
one ever talks about them either.
No, I know. And I'm so glad you love them too. Because I remember seeing that in theaters. I probably saw Underworld with my mom. And I believe we saw the second one together as well. And both times we were like, fuck yeah, Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah.
Like, you are such a badass.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to see an Underworld Blade movie. That would be amazing.
At the very least, maybe a comic series.
Yeah, Underworld Blade. That'd be so good. You know, it would have to be IDW or Dynamite would have to pick up the rights to Underworld because they have all of the movie rights for some reason. And then they'd have to partner with Marvel to get Blade over.
Yeah. I think they could do it. I mean, Marvel's done stuff like that with other companies before.
Yeah.
So is DC. So, I don't know.
Unless Dark Horse acquired the rights to Underworld. I mean, and I feel like that would make it better even.
Yeah.
You know, if they acquired the rights, then I feel like a team-up would be, or a crossover would be more insight, so to speak, you know, because Dark Horse is a little bit bigger than Dynamite and IDW.
I don't know, IDW made me a big fan. I can't say enough about the Transformers series.
Yeah, that's true. Transformers G.I. Joe.
Yeah, that was awesome. I think I told you I'd put that in my top 5.
I know, which is crazy. You have a lot of comics.
Yeah, I didn't even expect it.
Yeah.
You know, because I remember getting the issue 0 on Free Comic Book Day. I think we went out that year, and I picked it up at Bell.
I think I have it too. I think, yeah.
Yeah. And I flipped through it, and I don't remember thinking much of it at the time, and then just a couple months ago got back into it. I was like, well, I should read this, because I got most of the issues, and then I went ahead and picked up like the last 4 that I didn't have and finished it all at once, and incredible. Everyone should read it. It should be required reading in high school.
Yeah. I'll just see if they come out with like a deluxe edition or something.
I'm sure they're going to. Right now, I think they've just got like, it's split up into 3 trades, I believe, unless you want to get the individual issues.
Yeah.
Which are all beautiful too, so, you know.
Yeah. Just track them down.
Yeah.
Just track them down.
Just track them down, hang them up on your wall or something. Good piece of art. Shit. I was going to say something else and I lost it. That doesn't help.
Not at all.
That helps no one.
No.
It doesn't help me. It doesn't help anyone listening
Well,
either.
speaking of comics, just yesterday, you and I attended Cincy Comic-Con.
We did.
Which was a lot of fun.
Yeah, big bummer about that, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So, you don't know this. I didn't even tell you.
I don't know this.
You don't know.
We were there together, and I don't know.
Bender's finding out right now for the very first time. Listen to his reaction.
Oh, God.
When we sat down, well, you see, to rewind a little bit, my son, Lazarus, and I, we split up from Bender and his girlfriend, Lindsay.
Yes.
When we were walking around. We were both kind of doing our own thing a little bit. I believe we walked away for the final time when you were sitting down to get your stuff sorted that you were sending out to have graded.
Right. That was...
Bender was getting some comics graded.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to...
Or submitted.
For grading.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, when he was at the booth to do that, I took my son, we started walking around, and I was like, hey, buddy, let's find you something to take home. And we did. I got him this huge, very nice styrofoam. It's made of styrofoam, but it looked like high-class, high-quality styrofoam. Okay. And very detailed. It was the Master Sword from Legend of Zelda.
Okay.
And when we went into Starbucks to wait for Bender and Lindsay, I set it behind my chair and leaned it up against the wall. And you might recall that when we left, I was not carrying a Master Sword.
You were not.
So I left it at Starbucks.
No, you left it there?
Yeah.
Oh, son of a bitch.
I did. It was $25. Fucking badass,
Did you
too.
even like call down there?
Yes.
Or anything?
On the way home, I didn't want to say anything because he asked me about it when we were sitting in the back seat.
Uh-huh.
and he said, "Hey, Daddy, I want my sword." And I was like, I thought to myself, fuck. I left
should have
it.
said so. I would have gone back.
We were already like 20 minutes.
I still would have gone back.
I didn't want to do that to you.
You spent money on it.
I know, but...
God damn.
So I tried discreetly, like, after he asked me that and I realized I'd fucked up, I was like, well, okay, I'll just call him real quick and I'll have him put it to the side and I'll go pick it up later this week. And I looked up the number to the Starbucks in the Northern Kentucky Convention Center, and I called, and it said the number was disconnected. And I like Googled it too, and it was the only number that would come up. I went on Starbucks website and found that location, and the number doesn't work.
God.
So I was just like, so he asked me again today where his sword was, and I was like, I don't know, buddy, we're gonna have to find it. I don't know where it went. So I saw it on Amazon, and Jess put her check in the bank, so I'm just gonna order another one tomorrow.
Yeah.
It'll be here in a few days, but still, it's shitty.
It's a bummer.
It is.
That really sucks. But I was gonna say, I actually did not get a lot of stuff at Comic-Con, surprisingly.
Yeah, I left with much less than I thought I was going to. But it didn't seem like there was a whole lot.
There wasn't a whole lot to like really buy, like gather. Like it was, all of your vendors, which is to be expected. Obviously, it's a comic convention, but all of your vendors were either back issues or like action figures that were just a little too expensive.
And in my opinion, not a very good selection.
No, I didn't see like one figure that I was like, fuck yes, I need to have that figure.
No. Because I've been on this Transformers and G.I. Joe kick.
Right.
And I was like, okay, maybe they'll have like one of those vendors where it's just like they've got buckets of old action figures. And I was like, it would be sweet if they've got just like a mishmash of, out of the package G.I. Joes, so I could get some of those for Lazarus to play with. And because I loved playing with G.I. Joes when I was a kid. I don't know if you ever got into them.
I never had G.I. Joes.
The thing that I loved about G.I. Joes was that they were so... they had so many points of articulation compared to like the other Batman or Superman figures, where all of Marvel and DC's figures, at least from back in the day, they were just kind of like, you could move the legs up and down, you could move the arms up and down, but you couldn't move at the elbows, the knees, or the head or anything like that. G.I. Joes, you could like twist the torso around. They had this little black rubber band inside that held them together, and yeah, I always thought that was cool. Anyway, they didn't have anything like that at Comic-Con.
And the first time, I think that was my third time at Cincinnati Comic-Con. Okay. And I really feel like this particular time, yesterday, it felt much smaller than it has previously. I really did feel like there were a lot of vendors that were like missing. And part of that was because they had that giant Lego exhibit. Yeah. Which, cool as it was, that area was filled with vendors last year. And I feel like they had a wider variety of vendors as well. You're only going to get so much at a Comic-Con. And I really do appreciate Cincinnati Comic-Con because they really focus more on like the modern comic artists, and you don't always have like this weekend is Cincinnati Comic Expo. Right. And I don't recognize a single name on the guest list at all, because all of the comic creators that they're bringing in are dudes that were doing it in like the 70s and 80s and stuff. And I'm like, I don't read that. I don't read those comics. The only person is Rob Liefeld, who's the creator of Deadpool. But other than that, nobody. So, for a fan like me, I really prefer Comic-Con because it seems like a younger crowd. Obviously, everybody we met was young and kind of an up-and-coming artist, even despite their success. But still, it felt like there was a lack of stuff,
Yeah.
almost.
Well, a couple people that I talked to, John Lehman from Chew, when he was signing stuff, he seemed to be giving me the impression he wasn't talking shit. He just said it had been fairly slow. I don't think maybe as many people came out as they thought were going to be there. And another vendor told me, it was like, hey, how's the weekend been? That
I
kind
think
of deal.
part of that, because I was talking to my friend who had a booth there, and he was saying that, again, the weekend was kind of, it was like so-so. It wasn't really going places for him and his buddy that were showing. And it's because they smashed these two cons one weekend after the other. You've got Comic-Con this weekend and Comic Expo, well, this coming weekend. And you can't have all of that stuff right next to each other because you're forcing people to choose, like, okay, well, which one do I go to? Vendors and guests alike.
Well, it seems like even if you were competing, I feel like even competitors would talk to each other a little bit and be like, we've both got an expo or a con in Cincy that we want to do. Why don't we spread them out from each other so that we both benefit?
Exactly.
Because
one of them needs to be held in spring.
Yeah, and that way both cons would have a better turnout because people have a little time in between each as opposed to having to pick and choose between one or the other, and that doesn't make much sense to me.
No, I absolutely agree. But I did think today, I was thinking about it today, and I wondered if part of the reason, and I don't feel like it's going to take away from attendees, but I wondered if part of the reason both of these Cincinnati conventions are in the fall is because, like, the bigger, like, San Diego Comic-Con and New York Comic-Con and stuff are all in the spring.
That could be.
And so that's where you get a lot of your focus and your announcements and things like that. And for some reason, I wondered if Cincinnati, the people who organized those shows, didn't want to, like, overshadow that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like a bunch of people from Cincinnati are making a pilgrimage to San Diego for the biggest con in the country.
Maybe it had to do with guests. Like, if they hold it at the same time, then they're not going to be able to get people who would rather go and have a booth or do signings.
Possibly, but I really feel like, especially Cincinnati Comic-Con, which focuses more on, like I said, the newer artists, newer writers. Lots of people from, like, Image are there all the time, and I don't feel like a lot of them are showing up at San Diego Comic-Con. I mean, a couple of them maybe.
Yeah.
I think Ryan Brown, who we met, might have been there this year, or have the convention in the middle of the summer. I don't know. Put it in July, or something. I don't know.
Or at least space them out a month.
They shouldn't be back-to-back weekends.
Bad move.
Yeah, bad move. But overall, though, we did have a good time. Met some cool people. We got our shit signed for Spider-Gwen. Yeah. Everybody involved with that.
Yeah,
that's a good book.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
I did get to meet Scotty Young. You weren't with me for that.
No, I was not.
You're familiar with his work?
What has he done?
He does all those baby variants for Marvel.
Yeah, he told me. The baby variant guy.
He writes I Hate Fairyland and draws it for Image. He was writing and drawing Rocket Raccoon for a while too, which I have a lot of. But yeah, I've met him very briefly.
Oh, I meant to tell you when we were talking about being in Massachusetts.
Yes.
I played an interesting game with Lazarus and my brother-in-law Daniel.
Uh-huh.
Lazarus took some of his toys along for the trip, and one of the toys that he decided to bring was Pui Pui from Dragon Ball Z, I don't know if you're familiar with him.
I feel like I know the name, but which...
He's in the Boo saga.
Okay.
And he's one of Babbidi's henchmen. They fight him like in the chamber when they're trying to go down the levels to reach Boo, and he ends up. I think he fights Vegeta.
Pui.
Yeah, he looks kind of like a xenomorph. He's got that like elongated head.
Okay.
And he's like white, and anyway, he's a pretty minor character in the pantheon of Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
But he took him along, and Daniel, my brother-in-law, just I guess started doing this little gimmick where Pui was building a wall out of baby blocks, and Pui turned into like a Donald Trump type character, telling all the other action figures that he wasn't going to get past his wall.
Oh my god!
And so then I took one of Lazarus's wrestling figures, a guy named Great Khali, and he's like a Middle Eastern guy. So I like walked him up to the wall and I was like, "Senor, why won't you let me in?" He's not Mexican,
right?
But he could play the part.
That's why it's
in
funny.
A movie. That's why it's funny. So then I had him. He's very upset that he can't get through his wall, and the game was to continue bashing down Pui's wall because he wanted to make America great again.
Oh, of course. Yeah, of course.
He lost.
Good.
It ended up. Long story short, Pui ended up in the land of the dead, in the corner of the couch. Locked inside of a chamber that was like the bag the blocks came in.
That's probably where Pui, air quotations, should end up.
Yeah.
For sure.
In the show and in real life.
Yeah, and in real life.
And Donald Trump.
We don't want to get too political here.
No,
but seriously, just don't. Yeah. Seriously, just stop.
We won't. It's not a political show.
It's not a political show, and it won't be because we're about to move on.
Yeah.
But
I feel like we can agree.
Yeah, we can totally agree.
And then like I said, more Massachusetts fun. Jess was walking into the tattoo convention, and this kindly black gentleman, elderly black gentleman, stopped her as she was going in, and he's like, "Hey, you look good."
Oh my god.
And she's like, "Oh, thank you." And he's like, "Oh, you look great. Thanks." She's like, "Delicious."
Oh, holy shit.
Yeah.
That's the balls on some people.
Yeah.
To just like stop somebody. And it's like, I feel like it's one thing to just compliment somebody. Although I feel like nowadays you can't just compliment somebody because if you compliment someone and they feel like you think they owe you something in return.
Yeah.
But, that being said, some people to just be like, you are looking delicious. Like, that takes some confidence for sure.
It's nice though, right?
I guess.
It's a compliment.
It is a compliment, and
as long as it doesn't go past that.
Right, exactly. If he's not like, you look delicious and then is trying to
taking bites out of
right.
her. But I feel like if someone told me I look delicious, that's cool.
Yeah, like I'd take a compliment, but I just mean like I wouldn't necessarily be the first one to give out a random compliment because I just like would worry that I'm gonna get some kind of backlash for trying to be nice.
Yeah.
You always see, you don't see, but I always see on my Facebook, it's like, I
don't follow anyone on Facebook.
Yeah, not a soul. So somebody will like either share or post themselves. I've had girls on my newsfeed post pictures themselves of like, sometimes it's way out of line. Most of the time it's just like a guy will message them randomly and be like, "Hey, like you're really cute." and the girl will just be like, "Oh, I have a fucking boyfriend, you fucking perv," like, you know. But then their profile picture is just like tits.
Yeah.
And they're just like, "Oh, I can't believe you would say that to me, like, over the Facebook anyways, like, just go home, you fuck boy." And I'm like, all he did was, like, say you're pretty.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like that's bad. It's become bad.
Right.
Maybe because so many people go over the line. People have gotten
exactly because the internet
overly sensitive about just even a nice thing like, "Hey, you're pretty," or like,
right.
"Hey, you're cute," and then it's like, "Well, I'm more than that." Okay, I know.
Well, because there's
you're not.
There's no filter on the internet, so a lot of times girls, and I've seen it because I've had lots of girlfriends who have had profiles online, not girls I've dated, but I have lots of girlfriends that have had profiles on dating websites and whatever. And it is just, like, endless. The amount of messages they get, like, "Hey, you're so fucking sexy, I'd ram you in the ass all night long." And that's, like, the first thing somebody sends.
Yeah. But I feel like the way to handle that is to just not reply.
Well, that's, yeah.
I
mean,
part.
yeah, you don't.
But I feel like as the guy sending that message, you have to know 99.999 repeating times out of 100, you are... Like, that's... You're fucking disqualifying yourself from the race. It's not going to happen. No chick is going to write back and be like...
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Come over tonight.
And the one, or the whatever, 0.001... percentage
of the time
that does get back to you, you probably don't want that chick to be contacting you. She's probably not the type. Yeah, she's gonna give you
things.
Extra things.
She's gonna give you presents.
So
I don't know what makes people think that shit. I think, sometimes I think that a guy will do it because sometimes it does get a reaction. Like, it gets "Oh, you're such a fucking asshole," and then they're able to kind of keep it going. It still doesn't pay off for them, but they're able to get like 2 or 3 more messages in there. Yeah. And like piss off this chick, and they just get to talk to her and masturbate, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know.
Stupid.
But I feel like it's unfortunate that people can't just say, "Hey, you're a cutie.
Yeah.
You're pretty.
You look very nice today."
Like, there's something bad about that. There's something wrong with looking nice to someone. Yeah. Like, it just means that someone is gonna, just try and fuck you. It's like, it's not gonna happen.
You can't.
Most people, like we talked about in the last episode, most people don't want to fuck your kid.
Right.
And
most people don't want to fuck you either.
Yeah. They're just, some people look nice.
Yeah.
It's okay.
And I think you should be, not that I'm like running around doing this, but I think that you should be able to acknowledge that regardless of your relationship status.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there is nobody more beautiful than my girlfriend, and I'm sure that you feel the same about your wife. However, that doesn't mean that I can't look at somebody and be like, "You are a nice looking person, boy or girl."
Yeah.
And I should be able to tell them. But but then it just like I said, and today, I feel like anytime you say that, especially to the opposite sex, a lot of times there's an automatic connotation that you're like trying to hit on them,
or that you think that's all they are.
Right.
It's like, well,
they're not
much
smart
more than that.
too. Yeah.
Well, okay, but I can't fucking tell that by looking at you.
I've only had 5 minutes of interaction with you in my life, and my first impression is you are an attractive person.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. That's all I.
That's
got
all
for
I know about you so far. You may be all these great things, or you might be a shitty fuck, but at the very least, you look good today.
But if they're gonna get butthurt that they think they're worth more than just being attractive, they're probably a shitty person, because they're just like, "Well, I'm so much more than just an attractive person."
I don't mind if someone tells me, "Hey, you look good, pal."
Yeah, I know.
It doesn't happen very often. Well, I think the best compliment that I ever received was when I was working third shift at Speedway, and a group of ladies came in, and the I guess the most boisterous one in the group, got up to the counter, and she proceeds to say, "Boy, you are One Tree Hill sexy."
Oh my god, that's probably the best compliment ever.
I was like, I don't know what that means, but I'll take it. I know it's a show on like the WB or something, so I'm guessing there are
James
attractive boys.
Vanderbeek or whatever his name is.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, that's his show.
I thought that was what was that called?
Dawson's Creek.
Dawson's Creek.
One Tree. What did she say? One Tree Hill.
One Tree Hill sexy.
Was that Chad Michael Murray or something like that?
I don't know.
I
honestly don't know.
I have no idea. I never watched.
I assumed it meant like, hey, you could be on the WB.
I guess.
Like that's.
I feel like if you're going One Tree Hill or Dawson's Creek, it's a very classy grunge style almost.
Grunge?
Yeah, like I don't know. They just wear. I feel like they wore a lot of like long sleeve T-shirts. And, like,
I was thinking like 2001 Abercrombie.
Okay, yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah,
that's not grunge.
I know it's not grunge. It's just like.
I mean, I would have been wearing a Speedway uniform. So.
I know you would have. I don't know where I'm going with it. I can't even say I'm only basing this opinion off of like 3 pictures from the TV show I've ever seen.
So you're imagining like Kurt Cobain being
no,
on the
not
cast.
Kurt Cobain. No, not Kurt Cobain. Like shitty, like not T-shirt thin, but not sweatshirt thick, long sleeve T-shirts. You know, like. And hair kind of done up with gel, but the tips aren't frosted. And then like cargo pants,
like angel hair,
like David Bourne has angel hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like that. I don't know. It's not grunge, but like it's not.
What if you ordered angel hair pasta and someone just brought you like a plate of
David Bourne's hair? Gross. That's gross. Did you ever see the Family? It's either Family Guy or American Dad episode with they go up to see the Aurora Borealis, but it's the David Bourne-alis. Like,
no, I've never seen
and it's just like David Bourne has his face in the air with all the colors on it.
I will look that up now.
It's pretty funny. I'm pretty sure it was one of those 2 shows. It might have been a different one, but it's funny.
When you're driving,
yeah,
on long drives, what do you like to listen to?
Oh man, just about. I mean, whatever. I think.
Do you do audiobooks ever? Do you just listen to music?
I don't do like podcasts or books or anything. I feel like that would put me to sleep.
Yeah.
I have to do some kind of music. Obviously, and then that I would eliminate like soft or easy music, acoustic music, stuff like that. I don't know. I just kind of like pop on whatever. Really, it's more like any other time I'm in the car.
Do you ever try to do like an entire catalog? Sometimes I'll do that, where
you stick with one band and just go album after album. No, I've never particularly tried that.
I'm surprised you haven't done that, at least with like MCR.
Well, I mean, I listen to MCR so often, and I switch it up often enough. Like, I don't listen to just one album with that band. That's one of, if not the only band where I will regularly listen to each album. I don't have. I mean, The Black Parade is my favorite, but I don't necessarily listen to it more than the others.
I still don't feel like I ever gave Danger Days
a proper chance.
Yeah.
I enjoy that. I mean, I enjoy it. I like it. I like that album. I think it's got some weak songs comparatively, but I honestly feel like 3 Cheers has a couple weak songs on it. I think for me personally, The Black Parade is the strongest consistently. I don't particularly care for Disenchanted until like the last quarter of the song, but that's it. That's the only portion of the record that I'm kind of like.
I feel like their first is their best.
It's in
my opinion.
It's most excellent.
I can't imagine, or I can't think of one song that I don't like on that album.
Yeah.
I could just let it keep going over and over again.
It's a really good album.
And it sucks because I feel like a lot of people probably don't even know about it. I'm not saying that as like a hipster. I'm just saying it never got marketed.
No, they got so big with 3 Cheers that their first album kind of just got lost.
That's what I think. A lot of people probably assume that is their first album.
Yeah.
You might find out years later that they had something before that and be very surprised.
Mm-hmm.
And I also thought it was cool that Jeff Rickley from Thursday produced the first one.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. They were actually on his record label.
Third Eyeball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember I bought that album as a CD and it came with a Eyeball Records sampler. I don't remember what was on it, so obviously nothing particularly stood out.
Yeah, I don't know of any other bands that came from Eyeball.
No.
There might be some that got huge, but I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, don't know who they were.
But on our drive to and fro recently to Massachusetts and back, I listened to 2 audiobooks.
Really?
Yeah. Which I did. Yeah, I listened to one when we went last year. But I did one. Both are really good. The first one was called Extra Lives by a guy named Tom Bissell, not Tom Bicknell.
Shout out! Hey, what up? Hey, Tom Bicknell!
What up? Lebanon, represent.
Probably never hear this.
Probably not.
That's okay.
But Tom Bissell wrote this book called Extra Lives. It was really cool. It was all about basically the importance of video games. And
that's cool.
Yeah, just
like the importance as it relates to like pop culture, or just the importance
like for the player.
Okay.
You know, the whole thing is like extra lives. It's
right.
kind of like going into how deeply people connect with characters in games and how people draw inspiration from video games. You know, it wasn't really a book that went into too much detail on like the history of gaming or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was more of like him giving his account of what games have meant to him over the course of his life and sort of how different games will connect him to certain time periods, much in the same way that like music can take you back when you hear a certain song or you have a certain album that when you think about it, you know, oh, I remember exactly what was going on in my life when this came out, you know, that type of thing. But it's something that people don't really talk about when it comes to games a whole lot. I'm sure that gamers probably think about this kind of thing, but I feel like with gaming being as new as it is, there hasn't been much time for people to really realize in a big way, you know, that aspect.
Right.
And just like, I don't know exactly where I'm going there, but just basically, like I said, how you get that strong connection and a game can sometimes get you through a rough patch in your life. If everything else is going to shit, but you've got this waiting for you at home, you can sit down and you know that you can kind of escape into another world, and it becomes kind of like an extra life for you.
Right.
You know, something else that you can go into and put your energies towards that, you know, may frustrate you and may piss you off a bit, but at least you know it's going to be there in a way.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know that I've ever had that strong of a connection with a video game. I think there was a time for a couple of years where I tried to be, well, not tried, but I just like was, you know, I was a pretty steady gamer. I didn't necessarily beat a lot of stuff, but I was like, I had a 360 and I just was like playing as much as I could, or, you know. But I don't know. I don't necessarily have like a nostalgia feeling for a lot of video games. I didn't own a system until the Nintendo 64. So I feel like there's a lot of people my age that kind of grew up with a system. Maybe their older sibling had a Nintendo or a Super Nintendo, or like, their parents had one and they just gave it to them when they were very young. And I didn't have that, and a lot of my friends didn't necessarily have it either. Some of them did. I remember one of my friends had an Atari that we used to play a lot. But really, I didn't enter into the fray until the N64. So I feel like, I don't know, a lot of the nostalgia that goes along with it is still very easily accessible.
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily, like, get taken back. It's more like when I play the N64 now, I just feel like, oh man, this is so crazy. The graphics are so terrible.
Yeah.
But like, I remember this game being really good. I guess I will say one thing is that Super Smash Brothers, the original Super Smash Brothers, even playing it today, that does take me back to when that game came out. I can't tell you how old I was, but I was younger. And there was, it might have been before I even owned a Nintendo. There was a girl that lived like across the street and a couple houses up from me when we first moved to Middletown. And our parents were friends, and she was probably my exact same age as me, maybe a year older. And then she had a younger sister who was like right around my sister's age. So, we hung out a lot. And I remember renting Super Smash Brothers and taking it over to her house, and we went down in the basement and like popped it in, and probably for the next like 4 hours just like hysterical crying laughter.
Yeah.
Because we were putting like the party hats on Pikachu and then like fighting, you know, and just thought it was the absolute funniest thing, best thing we'd ever played. We used to play Mario 64 all the time, but Super Smash Brothers like did it, and I can remember that specific instance, like just rolling around on the floor, laughing and laughing and laughing and laughing because Super Smash Brothers was so fun. But I think that's probably the strongest connection that I have with a video game, is just that one instance, that one memory of Super Smash Brothers.
But it's a strong memory.
But it is strong. I mean, I remember it very well. I remember specifically we were laughing so hard because we were playing as Pikachu wearing a party hat.
And it's fun to think about when you're a kid and that kind of thing could cause you to have that kind of reaction.
Right.
So
yeah.
It would take a bit more than that now.
Right.
To get you rolling around the floor laughing.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
But back then, a party hat was all you needed.
Yeah. No.
Because it was ridiculous.
I wish I thought things were that funny now. I've always been a tough crowd when it comes to comedy, but I think it's worse when you get older.
Oh,
you know? I would see people watching movies sometimes where they're just like fucking keeled over laughing, and it's like,
it's not that funny.
No, I don't get it.
All the generic comedies that kind of get put out nowadays, like Ride Along or I can only think of Kevin Hart movies. What was the one he just did with Will Ferrell, where he was like prepping Will Ferrell to go to prison? Get Hard.
Yeah.
And then he did the one with The Rock.
Yeah.
Like in whatever it was.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But I didn't see it.
All of those, like, just generic, and not only Kevin Hart movies, but like Grown Ups.
All the Adam Sandler movies.
Adam
that come out
Sandler,
now.
Kevin James. Even sometimes I think Chris Rock is kind of in that realm now.
Yeah.
All those generic comedy movies are just stupid. And they have like this, they keep coming out. Somebody likes them.
The last thing that really made me laugh like that uncontrollably was Tim and Eric.
Yeah.
Nothing since then.
Yeah.
And I feel like some shows have tried to do that, but then it feels like they're just trying to cash in on Tim and Eric, and it's not Tim and Eric, so then that just turns me off. Like,
They were really the pioneers of that, like, public access emulation in their, show. And now you get a lot of shows, especially, I mean, obviously, mostly on Adult Swim, that are, like, super weird and, like, off-putting, but it doesn't have the charm of Tim and Eric. And, I mean, I'm saying that as, like, not particularly a fan of Tim and Eric, but I can recognize...
A lot of shit on Adult Swim just bothers me.
Really?
Because when it first came on, I remember stumbling upon Adult Swim one night, and I was like, what the fuck is this show? And it was Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Oh, God. I love Aqua Teen.
I think I was probably like a freshman in high school or something when it first started, and I thought it was hilarious. And then Tim and Eric didn't start for a while, until a while after that. I think, maybe like 21 or 22 when Tim and Eric came on. And that was the same way. I was just flipping through channels one night, and I saw like the Casey and his brother skit where Tim just looks like this slightly handicapped guy doing like karaoke on public access.
Yeah.
It's like, and then he always throws up at the end when he's done singing,
God.
and it's just, and it had like Weird Al Yankovic in it, and just totally off the wall. But there was like you said, there was a certain charm to him back then, because they were still kind of like under the radar a little bit. And now it feels like there was a formula put in place that a lot of people have come in and they've tried to like take that formula and just, I don't know, like I said, kind of cash in on it, and it feels a little dirty to me,
Yeah.
I love Rick and Morty. I think that's a great show, but I don't know, I never got super into like Adventure Time. Some of the stuff I've seen has been okay, but there's like the Uncle
Grandpa, super weird. I love The Amazing World of Gumball, though.
I've not seen that one.
That show is excellent. It's so good. It's really funny. Not every episode, but a lot of times they have like really clever, like under the radar jokes in there.
Yeah.
Gumball is a great show. I've laughed out loud at that before.
Did you ever see Super Jail?
Oh yeah, I like Super Jail a lot.
I like that because David Wayne was behind it. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
I don't think
he's part of the group who did Stella.
Okay.
With, like, Michael Showalter and Michael Ian Black and David Wayne. Those three are like the trio. But if you've never watched Stella, you have to check that out too.
I've not seen Stella.
That was awesome. It was great. Yeah. So I don't know. We talked about what I was doing in Massachusetts. What did you do while I was gone?
Took care of my sick girlfriend.
Sounds like fun.
That's literally about it. I don't think anything super fun happened.
Saw a nice movie though.
I did. I got to see. I saw two nice movies. I got to see 31, and I also got to see Don't Breathe.
Oh, I don't. Did we talk about you seeing Don't Breathe?
No, because I saw Don't Breathe on my birthday.
Okay. Yeah. What did you think of it?
I liked it a lot.
Wait, maybe we did talk about it.
We talked about it. Yeah, we did talk about it in the chat. But
on Facebook.
Yeah.
Not in person, though.
No. We mentioned in the chat that we both agree that it was definitely a thriller and not a horror movie.
Definite thriller.
Yeah.
I have a lot of trouble calling that a horror movie.
It was. There's no gore, not a lot of shock value in it.
But a lot of people have been saying, "Oh, this is the greatest horror movie of the last 20 years," and it's just not.
I don't agree with that.
I think there are many other movies that have come out in the last 20 years that are horror, that are better horror movies than Don't Breathe.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we mentioned Evil Dead, the new Evil Dead. You mentioned 28 Days Later.
Yeah.
I mean, I can think The Witch, It Follows, all of those immediately are superior films to Don't Breathe as far as horror goes.
Yeah.
But I did really like Don't Breathe. I still enjoyed it. I mean, it's from the team that did Evil Dead, so wasn't quite as good as Evil Dead, but I appreciated where they were kind of going with it. I like the girl that's in it.
Yeah.
She's cool.
But I think I told you one of my big problems with it was there was such a period of time in that movie, by the way, spoilers,
Yeah, a couple spoilers.
Yeah, but there's a kind of extended period where I found myself siding with the old man.
Yeah.
You know, where it's just like, okay, well, he just killed someone, but they did break into his house, and they're like trying to take his shit.
And
so
he's blind.
He's blind. He's like a war veteran. So
and his family's dead.
Yeah.
Like,
so you like want me to side with these people just because they're young and kind of
want to get out of town?
Yeah.
And the girl has a bad home life because her mom's a drunk.
I mean,
I don't think so.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry your life is shitty, but
Get a
that doesn't
job.
mean don't break into an old man's house and like try and take all of his money.
Yeah.
And then get mad when he is like
fights back.
Yeah, to defend himself.
Yeah, I didn't immediately feel that like while watching the movie, but as soon as you said it to me, I was like, yeah, I didn't really like. I had like no sympathy for the intruders.
Mm-hmm.
In that film, and it was weird because that was the story that was being followed.
Well, it took that other turn to get me off of his side.
Right.
You know, when you find out what he's got down in his basement, and it was like, okay, well, that's fucked up.
Yeah, and it wasn't even the first time you find out. It was when you find out why he had that in his basement.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then what he had achieved with that while it was in his basement.
We're trying to dance around the spoilers.
I guess we say spoilers and then we're just kind of like, yeah, we are dancing around it.
I feel bad spoiling things.
I do too.
Because you know, sometimes people are like, "Well, I don't care," but then
you tell them, they're like, "Well, why'd you tell me? That's so crazy."
Yeah, or then they go out and watch it anyway, and you're like, "Well, if you would have just heeded my spoiler warning, then you would have gotten to see this."
Shocked.
Fresh. Yeah.
Shocked and appalled.
Yeah. Which that's appalling, but I don't want it to take me that long to have to
hate the person they're trying to make the villain.
Yeah.
Because the whole time you just feel like the main characters are the villains.
Right.
Yeah. Unless
that's done intentionally. But at that point, like I said, it's not scary.
Right.
Because you're kind of like, get them.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, like I said, I still really enjoyed the movie, but I understand where it was kind of like, well, I didn't really know what direction they were trying to take. Do you want me to sympathize with the old guy? Do you want me to feel bad for the chick? Am I supposed to feel bad that this guy gets shot? Am I supposed to feel bad that he's got that in his basement? Like, what am I supposed to feel about this, you know? Do I want her to get away? Do I want her to get caught? Do I want...
Yeah.
I didn't know.
I don't know. Not a horror movie, though.
No, definitely not. Not even a little.
Thriller.
Definitely. Thriller.
Michael Jackson.
I was just going to say, because it's Thriller! That's... Yeah. But I also got to see a very advanced premiere of Rob Zombie's 31. Rob Zombie's new movie.
And?
Subpar movie, excellent character.
You mean the killer? The
killer.
Or the new
new...
Trying to take the mantle as the slasher? Is
apparently,
that what he's doing here?
I heard my friend that I attended the showing with, I went with my girl Lindsay and then our friends Aria and Cody. And so Aria was telling me that Rob Zombie has said in like an interview or something that he thinks that Doomhead is sort of the next great, slasher villain. And after seeing the movie, I am certainly inclined to agree with him. I very much enjoyed the character of Doomhead. I want to see more.
Where did the movie miss the mark?
Compared to Zombie's other movies, especially, for example, take House of a Thousand Corpses, because I think House is closest to 31. Okay? So, House of a Thousand Corpses, you've got like the family, the killer family, and they're all crazy, and they abduct these kids and spend the night like murdering them or whatever. But there's this uneasiness or this oddity about them where, like, they all have these weird quips. Like, they eat dinner together and then they put on that show, you know, where Baby is, like, mouthing the words to the Betty Boop song, and lots of costumes, and Otis is, like, up in his room, and when he comes down, the mom is, like, so excited, like, he never fucking leaves his room. It's sort of that, like, you get that unintentional backstory where, like, you just sort of assume that Otis and his mother don't really like each other, but it's very special. He's still very special to her, so when he does appear, and he brings that, like, baby in a jar,
yeah,
and she just, like, kisses it and sets it on a mantle, like, what the fuck is that? They never explain it. They don't talk about it. So there's a lot of it's a saturated movie with a lot of weird stuff, and just, like, it makes you feel uneasy and you want to know about this and you want to know about that. But 31 is kind of a streamlined version where a group of people gets kidnapped, thrown into a factory, and then just chased down by murderers that they kill off one by one, and then they send new murderers in. You know? There's, like, a trio of weird Victorian-dressed people. Malcolm McDowell plays one of those characters. And they're, like, the hosts of this ritual.
What's the point of the ritual?
That's the thing. No, there's no audience. There's no point. It's just, like, these three people get together and they dress up in gaudy Victorian fashion with giant poof wigs and everything, and they make bets between themselves with, like, what looks to be real gold, but at the end of the night they just sort of, like, undress and put on their street clothes and go their separate ways. It's very theatrical, you know. Yeah. But even still, I feel like a lot of the villains were somehow less theatrical than you got in House of a Thousand Corpses.
So, does it feel more like a traditional slasher movie than one of Rob Zombie's kind of weird movies?
Yeah, I guess you can say that by, you know, describing it as streamlined.
How does it compare to Rob Zombie's Halloween?
I feel like that's a difficult comparison because this movie still kind of has Rob Zombie's touch on it. Like, you can obviously tell that he made the movie. I mean, the first maniac, so to speak, that they send in to kill the 6 victims at the beginning is a Mexican midget dressed as Adolf Hitler. You know? So he's running around yelling in Mexican, giving the arm or whatever, doing the salute, the Nazi salute.
Sounds like you brought Kevin Smith in to write it.
I know, right? and he has, like, knives, and he has a little Hitler mustache and whatever, and a swastika painted on his chest. But it just somehow, it almost felt like he was trying too hard. But so the comparison to Halloween, it's difficult to make that comparison because Halloween is, while it feels very Rob Zombie, I feel like it stays pretty true to the source material, and it's a really good remake, and so it's hard to compare a remake like that to this original.
Well, I just meant, I guess, in the sense that Halloween's more of a traditional slasher. Yeah. So if you're trying to make this new slasher icon, how his first movie stacks up against maybe some of the first movies from, you know, the old school slashers that...
Right. Now, well, to make that comparison, it's like you have to cut out all of the scenes that Doomhead isn't in, because he's in the beginning monologue and he's the final maniac that they send in the last 2 hours of the 12-hour game.
So do you think it would have been better if it just would have been him the whole time?
I would have been better, but it would have been way shorter because he, like, fucks shit up.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he doesn't mess around. Although he's fun because he's one of those villains that likes to talk about it all the time, you know? And he has like an existential reason for like why he's so good at fucking killing people, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's great. And the guy that played him just nails it.
Is it a new guy?
It's a new actor. I cannot remember his name. But just excellent. Most excellent. And, you know, I was watching it thinking, like, what would he have done in this role, you know, because he played Otis in the House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects, and he was so good as that character.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, he would have just murdered Doomhead. It would have been awful.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. Bill Moseley is a great actor. I love... You know, Otis, especially in Devil's Rejects, is an excellent character. But would have been completely wrong.
Was he not in the movie at all?
He was not in the movie at all.
Was there any reason for that?
No, I just know that Zombie likes to use him. I mean, he's been in 2 of the movies.
He was in Lords of Salem, wasn't he?
He might have been for a bit, yeah. Sid Haig is another one that, you know, is in 3, I think, of the movies. So, you know, you kind of expect maybe he'll return to these actors.
Yeah.
And yeah, the cast is mostly new, it seemed like, other than obviously his wife that he has to throw in everything. Which is fine, but she's not a leading lady.
Yeah, I agree.
I like her a lot, but she's not a leading lady.
I still think it's funny that Dwight Schrute was in House of a Thousand Corpses.
Oh, yeah, that's excellent. It's so funny.
Yeah. I feel like that movie gets looked over sometimes as far as, like, its creepiness goes. Because a lot of people refer to that one as the more, I guess, tongue-in-cheek movie compared to Devil's Rejects.
Yeah.
And I'd say it is, but I remember watching it for the first time, and maybe it was the setting, too. I downloaded it off LimeWire when I still lived with my parents, and I was in my basement, and I just watched it one night by myself, you know, like 2 a.m. or something, and I just didn't know exactly what to expect, and then I watched it, and I was just like, just felt like
unsettling.
Yeah, it's very unsettled.
Especially
afterwards.
like Dr. Satan at the end of it.
Yeah.
You know, even though he only appears for a second, that whole mental scene underground in the tunnels is very upsetting.
Yeah. Yeah. So, when does it actually come out? 31.
I can't even tell you. It's one of those, like, I already saw it. It's kind of like a Clown, which was produced by Eli Roth.
Yeah.
I saw that maybe like 2 years ago, and it just recently came out in limited theater release, and then I bought it on Blu-ray the other day. But it's kind of like 31 is not coming out 2 years from now.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like I saw it, and now I don't really have anything to do with it until I find it on DVD or something. Because I'll buy it. I mean, I enjoyed it. The only zombie movie I don't own is Lords of Salem.
I never saw that one.
It's a little...
I remember, I think that's one of the reasons is because you seem so lukewarm about it. And
Everybody's lukewarm about it. I think even Rob Zombie knew that he was lukewarm about it. The cool thing about seeing 31 was there was a fairly extensive interview at the end of the movie, at the presentation, where he was showing questions and he was answering them and stuff. And he mentioned in there that, like, Lords of Salem was shot in like 25 days or something, and there was a lot of stuff that they had to cut out, and it was shortened, but that's what, shooting that in that amount of time and learning what to cut prepared him for shooting 31, which only took 20 days, and he feels like he got a lot more in because he knew what he was doing, and like la-di-da-di-da. But I think he knew he set out to do something really weird with Lords of Salem, and then like it didn't quite come across the way he wanted it to. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure he's even aware it's his weakest film.
Yeah. I don't know if any other horror movies have been song titles first.
Lord of Salem was a song title. Is that
Yeah.
one of his songs?
Yeah. It was on the Educated Horses album, I believe, if you remember that one.
Mm-hmm. I'm I'm not gonna sit here and pretend I'm a big fan of zombies music.
Well, it was like it had a big radio hit.
Oh,
It was
was it Dragula? No, that was Hellbilly.
It was the Foxy Foxy.
No,
You don't remember that one?
Never heard it.
No.
Don't think I've heard that one.
Yeah, it was off that album. It came out in probably like 2007 or so. So I mean, there were a few years in between that song being released and then a movie by the same name coming out.
Right.
Which is a interesting trivia tidbit,
Yeah.
I guess. Sticking with creepy things, we visited the Dent Schoolhouse for our first haunt of this season with our fright friends, as you
our fright friends
dubbed them.
Yeah.
We got a little group together, and we're going to be hitting as many haunted houses as we can in this upcoming Halloween season.
Yes.
And surprising is it was only your third haunted house that you've ever been to.
It was.
Your haunted attraction.
Ever. Yeah. Yeah, for as big a horror nerd as I am, I don't particularly care for horror video games, and I don't go to a lot of haunted houses.
But you're trying to change that.
I am trying to change that. Yes. And Dent Schoolhouse was a step in the right direction. Although, and I don't know if it's just my age, or because I've seen so many horror movies, or because we were in a big group. I don't know what it was, but I definitely was not scared at the Dent Schoolhouse.
Well,
definitely
to
not.
Me, it's not really about being scared anymore.
Yeah.
Like when it happens, it's almost more of a genuine shock.
Yeah.
And I'll kind of, aha, you got me.
Right, right.
Because I'm a grizzled old vet when it comes to the haunted houses now. But I remember when I first started going to them, I'd get like nervous before I went in, and you hear the chainsaws revving up, and it's like, oh fuck,
Right.
But now I'll gladly lead the group, and be the first one in. I've actually found that when you're going with a group of people, the first person to enter the room is usually not the one they're going to go after.
Right.
Because, I guess people are expecting it.
Right.
But if you get the second or the third person through the door, they might think they're in the safe zone because, they're going to get the guy who's in front, and they don't. So there's a whole psychology to it. But, yeah, I think when I go now, it's more about the atmosphere and just looking around at shit and be like, man, that's pretty fucking cool.
Yep. I did. I was telling, I called my mom earlier today, and I was telling her about it and how we were just kind of walking through, and Kyle and Trinity were just trying to decorate their apartment with all of the ideas that they found in the house, and she was just laughing and laughing, and I was like, we just, somebody would jump out and we'd start laughing and be like, I love your costume,
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool, how'd you do that?
Like,
it was just not very desensitized, I feel like.
And that's the kind that I like. I don't think I would ever go to one where you have to like sign the waiver so people can touch you and shit. And like the super extreme ones where they literally chain you up and like people are spitting on you.
That's
and
so
like,
dumb. I don't get it. Like,
I don't know. It's nothing that I'm interested in doing.
You
but
see
some
that?
People...
Yeah, you see articles about that on Facebook, and it's just like, this haunted house is the most extreme haunted house ever. You have to take a psych evaluation, and the wait list is 1 year long.
Yeah.
It's just like, and then you watch a video of it, and they're like throwing people into walls and spitting on them,
and you can't do anything back.
Yeah, and they're shoving rotten eggs in their mouths, and like throwing them in coffins, and I'm like, that's not scary. That's just torture.
Yeah.
It's not. You're like missing the whole point. Why would you subject yourself to 3 hours of torture, literal torture? I don't think that's fun. I don't think it's scary. I don't think, like...
It's stupid.
It's just dumb.
In my opinion.
It's funny because I brought that up with my mom, and I was like, it's literally the exact same way I feel about that restaurant, Dick's Last Resort.
Yeah.
Like, why would I want to go and have a waiter be shitty to me for my entire experience and then pay $15 for a hamburger? Like, fuck that. I will never eat at that restaurant.
Yeah.
Ever.
I don't know. I like a good old-fashioned haunted house.
Yeah.
Walk through, look at cool shit, and have people jump out at you.
Yeah.
And if you get me, good
I
job.
felt bad for like some of those people because I feel like a couple of the actors that like had lines sort of, you know,
Yeah.
had to reach for us because we like were just kind of like slowly walking through their rooms and they were just kind of like, you're not scared? Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I'm gonna get you with my chainsaw. And we were just like, ha ha ha.
Not being overly douchey.
No.
There are some people who go in and they just like, they're talking shit to the actors. And it's like, they're trying to put the shine on themselves and like impress the group. Those people are really annoying if you get paired up with.
Right. We were not doing that. We were not talking smack by any means.
It's more like admiration.
Right. We were just kind of, I felt like we were just sort of staring and they kept trying to jump at us and we weren't reacting really. Yeah. It was more like we weren't reacting to people and I felt bad that we weren't reacting, but it wasn't fucking scary. So.
No. Yeah.
So we're probably going to do what? The USS Nightmare this weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
That is, if you're not familiar with the USS Nightmare, it's a huge riverboat that is in the water. Yeah. You know, it's like actually floating in the river on the banks. It's on the Covington side, I guess, of the river, of the Ohio River there. And I haven't been to that one for probably, I don't know, I'm guessing it's like been 5 years or so since I've been there, so they'll probably have some new shit that I haven't seen. Yeah. Which is kind of the cool thing about going year to year is, I know Kyle said, referring to Dent Schoolhouse, that they had added quite a bit this year. Right. So it's always neat to see these places step up their game and add new stuff. And
yeah, definitely.
As long as they don't do what Middletown Haunted Trail did and try to market themselves as an amusement park. Yeah. Which Middletown Haunted Trail used to be awesome. That used to be like one of my favorites. Really? And then they did the Land of Illusions thing. It's like fucking, I don't know, it's like upwards of $60 now to go through.
I think it's
all
like
the different attractions.
I think it's like $40 to get in, and then $60 if you want to do the zombie hunt or whatever. But it's like you might just go to Halloween Haunt at Kings Island for that price.
I know that is an actual amusement park.
And then, you can ride the rides instead of going to the haunts. Yeah. I was wondering if we would hit Land of Illusion at all this year, and I wouldn't be opposed because I literally haven't been since it was just the Middletown Haunted Trail.
Oh, you haven't?
No, I've not been to the Land of Illusion.
It's like, I think I went several years in a row, and it looked like they stopped upgrading. Oh, really? But the price seemed to be going up, so it was like, why?
Right, you weren't really getting something new for the $60 ticket you were throwing down.
Yeah. And you've got all these other ones scattered around that are supposed to be really good, and it's like, well, fuck, I'll check out some of the new ones I haven't been to, and
yeah, I think we should do that.
And spend less money and probably have a better time.
I think we should hit up the Haunted Hoochie in Columbus.
I've been to that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one's like, I guess that one's a little higher on the intensity scale. Uh-huh. You know, the actors are a bit more aggressive. That one, I don't remember a lot about the actual like sets and rooms that you went into, but I do remember they played some really shitty music as you were walking through, and they tried. It was like, I guess they were trying to be scary by way of intensity, rather than how in Dent there was a lot of times you were walking through and then just be kind of be silent. Right. And you were letting the atmosphere do the work. And Haunted Hoochie, I remember a lot of like screaming and guys like getting in your face and yelling at you, and you know, lots of loud, annoying, bad metal music in the room. Yeah.
Someone just like popping out like, "Oh, fuck your mother!"
Yeah. "Oh, fucking shove my cock down your throat, you piece of shit." Like that kind of stuff. Maybe not that intense, but yeah. that attitude where they maybe didn't have the psychology down.
I'm going to be a threatening scare.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you're going to fear for your safety. Like,
yeah.
not just be like, oh, I'm scared.
And if you're not, then you're just going to be very annoyed with me.
Right.
That seemed to be the way that the actors there were. But that's been years ago, so maybe they've changed it up a little bit.
Uh-huh.
I have a feeling they haven't.
Right.
I would imagine that if that's kind of your operating procedure, that you would just try to get more intense as the years go on.
Yeah, I can see that. I don't know. I've kind of resolved to just like let Kyle decide where we go because he seems to be the expert.
Yeah.
You know, so like whatever, if he's just like, hey, next weekend, do you want to go to blah, 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 I'll be like, yep, let's do it.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to hit a lot of different stuff. I think it's going to be fun, and I was proud of myself for not being particularly scared at the schoolhouse, so I felt good and confident about hitting all this other stuff, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's about it for this evening.
Yeah?
Yeah, I guess so.
Good, because I am tired. Work sucked balls, so.
Dealing with Doris.
Yeah, Doris! Stupid.
Maybe we can talk about Doris next time.
Maybe. I don't know.
Tell people about her ordering habits and inability to be pleased with her meals.
Yeah, well, I don't know. People might get offended if I'm calling an old lady a bitch.
Well,
no,
old people can be bitchy.
They are bitchy. She is a bitch.
That's not an excuse.
Doris.
You should still be nice when you're old.
Yeah, even if you're have Alzheimer's and you're senile, you can still be a nice person.
Well, make sure that you come back next week.
Oh, I did want to mention real quick 2 things that we never got to. One, I think we should have a guest on within the next couple podcasts.
I agree.
I think it should be Dale.
Okay.
I think that'd be fun to have our old bass player return for a cast with us. And then we are officially going to be starting Super Scary soon.
Yeah.
Because we picked out a movie.
We did.
For our flagship episode.
I was going to make sure we hit that on the outro.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. We'll talk about it literally in like 3 seconds.
And then next week, we can talk about the first episode.
Yeah.
So
stay tuned,
I guess.
Okay. We'll see you later.
Bye. And we're back to say goodbye.
Yes. I don't even remember what we were just talking about. Oh, Super Scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That starts this Saturday.
Right.
On YouTube.
Yes.
And the unfortunate thing is, like I mentioned in the intro, you can't just go to youtube.com/superdivorce.
Right.
They won't let you do that.
Not until we get 100 subscribers.
So if you're listening to this show and you want us to do well, and you want us to continue to have roofs over our heads, then make sure you subscribe on YouTube.
Because our housing arrangement is directly linked to how many subscribers we have on YouTube.
It is.
Yeah.
It depends on it.
Yeah.
Very heavily. So you should feel very guilty if you don't leave right now.
Right.
And subscribe to us on YouTube.
Yeah.
And you can do that just by pull up YouTube in your browser or your YouTube app and search for Super Divorce, but make sure that you filter by channels, and you'll see our little icon. It'll come up there, and then you just click on it and hit subscribe, and you'll be subscribed.
Boom.
And you can watch Super Tokens, the show and tell edition, every Wednesday, and you'll be able to watch Super Scary, our new... What is it? What are we doing on that show?
We're talking about horror movies, which is going to be bomb.
And we're even going to show some clips of the movies.
We're gonna, or it's gonna be a visual review.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, where we gave you a little bit of some auditory reviews during this episode.
We did. That's kind of a preview of Super Scary. I think last week maybe we gave a little preview of what you could expect of Super Fanatics.
Yeah.
Sort of, with our comic, back and forth. And this week you got a little taste of what you might hear on Super Scary.
Yeah. So that's going to be starting this Saturday.
Yes.
And we're going to be starting off with Sleepaway Camp.
Yeah! Sleepaway Camp!
Which is one of your favorites.
And
it's a movie I've never seen.
One of my favorite summer camp slashers.
So, this Saturday, man. Starts up. Make sure you get on there and you check it out because it's going to be pretty fucking cool. And we need 100 subscribers. And you can also still go to superdivorceme.com/superstore and get yourself a copy of Wish You the Best.
I like this accent that you just picked up out of nowhere.
So, other than that,
have a good week.
Have a good weekend.
And we'll be seeing you a lot more now.
We will. That sounded like a threat.
Yeah.
We'll be seeing you
way more often.
Get ready. All right. We'll see you.
Peace.
Soon.
Sort of. Death to all!
Fuck! That's an aggressive way to end the show.
Yeah. That's
just
okay.
Fuck!
No!
Ah!